So a while back I made a video on how to change the headlight bulb in a 2010 Milan and similar generation vehicles. And I did not, however, go over how to change the passenger side, which is a bit different. You actually have to go into the wheel well, so I thought I'd do a video on that since it's time to change the bulb on that side. I have the manual, so the first thing I'm going to do is go over the manual. Okay, for passenger side replacement of this bulb, do the following. Make sure headlamp control is in the off position, then open the hood. At the wheel well, remove press pins from the splash shield. Reaching through the wheel well, remove the rubber bulb access cover from the housing. Remove the bulb socket by rotating it clockwise, then pull it straight out of the lamp assembly. Disconnect the electrical connector from the bulb socket and discard the old bulb socket. Warning: handle a halogen headlight bulb carefully and keep it out of reach of children. Grasp the bulb only by its plastic base and do not touch the glass. The oil from your hand could cause the bulb to break the next time the headlight is operated. Now that remains true with any halogen bulb. Connect the new bulb socket to the electrical connector. Install the new bulb socket to the headlamp assembly by aligning the index fingers and rotate clockwise to the locked position. Install the rubber bulb access cover to the housing. Reapply pressure around the housing to make sure the protective rubber cover is completely seated. Turn the headlight on and make sure they work properly. If the headlamp was correctly aligned before you change the bulb, you should not need to align it again. Alright, so the bulb access is behind the front fender well in front of the wheel. And what you have to do is there are reusable press fit rivets. You pop the back out and it releases the rivet. There are several of these, and the whole front from about here down of the fender just comes off. Now there's been a lot of debate on the original video about the passenger side and how to get to it, saying there's an access panel. Well, it's not an access panel. Half the fender literally comes out. I suppose you can consider that an access panel, but I don't, because it's a pain in the butt. If there was an access panel, there'd be a little door back here, make it real easy to get your hand in there and reach the bulb. But before I start, I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the left and see if that gives me a little bit more room to work in here, because there's just enough room for me to get my hand and wrist and forearm up in there. I want to try to make it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a flathead screwdriver and I'm going to start popping the rivets out. Just slip it under there and give it a twist and a little bit of an angle, and it pops right out. Now work it carefully, because if you really try to rip it out of there, you may break the rivet, and that would make it tough to get your wheel well back in there. So you may have to slowly work it out of place here. So once you pull the center out of there, which is this little guy, if I can get some focus, right? Alright, don't lose it, because it's got to go back inside of here. Alright, so next you can pull this right out by hand, no problem. Now there are several rivets you have to remove. There are 3 right here. There is one back over here. There is one up over here. And then you have one back here, followed by 1, 2, 3. There's also one right up and behind above the upper ball joint that needs to come out. There's also a rivet hidden back under right there, which is right behind the back tire. a little easier where you can reach them better on the outside. Now, once you remove the last rivets, it's connected up in the front by a bunch of hex nuts. But at this point, you see the cover comes down and completely detached from the car. You can actually get up in here to get the light bulb. There's enough room to do that. It's also possible that if you don't mind wedging your hand in there, when this is up in place and you remove just the rivets on this side, you might be able to pry that out of the way and reach in and get the bulb without having to take the whole fender out. It's possible that may work, but I'm going to show you how to do it the way it's recommended. Alright, here's a picture of the cover that you have to remove. I'm using a mag light from above to kind of brighten it up, otherwise you won't really see it on camera. So all you do is just reach your hand in there and peel it off. That will reveal the bulb locked into the back of the housing. So now all you have to do is reach in, grab the housing, twist it clockwise, and pull it out very carefully. This side has a long run of wire so that you can get it out to a point where you can actually disconnect the plug. Oops, which is not exactly the easiest thing to do, because you have to lift that tab right here and then pull the plug out, which I don't know if I could do it with one hand, but I seem to be almost there with one hand. So if I can do this with one hand, then you surely can do it with two. So we've successfully removed the bulb from the housing. Now, when putting in the new bulb, you're going to want to be very, very careful. You're not going to want to touch any of that glass with your hands. You don't want to get any oils on it. So always grasp it from the base, never from the glass. You're just going to make this burn out pretty quickly if you do, and you just wasted all your time tearing the damn thing apart to put this in. As you would have guessed it, putting this bulb back in is exactly the opposite of taking it out. Now, since it's going to need, I'm definitely going to need two hands to connect this without touching the glass bulb. I'm going to do it real quick, and then I'm going to come back to show you it connected and then putting it back in the socket. So we're all connected, and I'm going to put it back in the socket now. So it has to go in with the plug facing down, and you'll know it's in right when it goes right in, and it's hard to show you without blocking it. Move that wire out of the way. So now that it's in, you're going to turn it. It should go counterclockwise or clockwise. As a matter of fact, I can't remember which way I turn it. I have the wire caught in the tab, that's why I can't get it in there. So let's move that out of the way and try again. So again, you're going to get it in there, and then we're going to give it a clockwise turn until it's locked into place. Now I'll try to show you again. That's unlocked and that's locked. From there, you're going to replace your rubber cover. Make sure it's fully seated on, because you don't want any moisture to get in there. And your new light has been installed. Now before you button everything up, I highly recommend you test to make sure the light bulb is working. Now that the light is working and it's reinstalled, now begins the arduous task of putting the fender back in, which can be a bit ridiculous. So, before we begin, I'm going to let you know that right here is a lip from about here to here, where this hangs right on top of it. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do, is get the fender in place and try to get this hung on that inside of that lip. Alright, so it's pretty much in place, so it's not that bad, but it can be a pain in the butt. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take all of your rivets and get them ready to put back in. So, let me show you real quick. So this one right here is ready to go. Okay? The little pop rivet lock is in place, and once you push that in, it'll spread these apart, which holds everything in place. So right now we have a whole bunch that are in two parts, and it's just as simple as making sure you put them in the right way, because they'll only fit in one way. Just get them lined up and get them ready, and I would do that before you even start putting them in, get them all set. There, ready to go. Now don't worry if you break one of these. They're available, AutoZone, Advanced Auto, they sell them by the package of them. So if you do ruin one of these, go ahead and put your fender together, put in the rivets that are good to hold the fender in place, stop by an auto parts store, pick up as many as you need, and just slap them right in there in the parking lot. So you're going to have to line it up and smush it in. Cake. Line it up. Smush it in. Line it up. And smush it in. Maybe we can't really see what I'm trying to show you here, but alright, so it's all buttoned up, fender's back in, all the rivets are in place, everything's back the way it should be, nothing's going to be flapping, and the headlight works. So yeah, that's a little bit more difficult than you would think. It's a little bit more work than doing the driver's side. But it's doable. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. Once you get all the rivets out of the way, it's quite easy. But I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe, and hopefully we can get another video pretty soon about putting HID bulbs in this car. So, till next time.